some of those key industry leaders who have the right business acumen, but also the ability to do the right thing. We have one here, the representative, really the top guy, Cal Ripken's glorious career, Ironman, Hall of Fame, but he does so much more than that. The Ripken Foundation, rather than me waxing eloquent on it or trying to wax eloquent, Steve Salem, its president. How are you, Steve?
Fine, thanks.
Good.
It's good to be here.
Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about the Ripken Foundation, just an elevator speech, and it's a long elevator ride, so give us an idea of what the foundation does.
So what we are doing is literally in all 50 states trying to provide opportunities. We use baseball as a hook, but it really is just a hook. Provide opportunities to kids who have been left behind, at-risk kids, distressed communities, using baseball to provide them with a platform to move forward in life in a positive way.
There are a lot of people whose foundation mandate is similar to that. The difference is Cal has scaled it to the point of unbelievable national success. How special is Cal Ripken to work with?
He's incredible. Nobody cares more about these kids than Cal and his brother Bill. They are 100% committed to, beyond their baseball careers, making a difference in the lives of these kids, and that's what they want as their legacy. They don't want to be remembered for what they did on the field. They want to be remembered for what they did off the field.
Give us an example of your kind of core business facility. Perfect world, mixture of fields, education. We understand that there is a STEM training involvement as well, female empowerment. You do it all.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of things. We really are broken down into two primary areas. First, we build what we call youth development parks, which are synthetic turf, $1 million plus parks in the toughest neighborhoods in America, so that the kids who reside there have the same opportunities to play and play anything that our kids have. Now, these parks happen to be state-of-the-art, spectacular places, and if they want to play competitive sports, now they have the opportunity. If they just want to go for a walk and play kickball with their friends, now they have that opportunity. And then the second thing we do is we have a group of programs like the ones you mentioned, STEM. We're putting STEM centers in inner city schools. We have a program called GREAT, which is to empower young women. And so we're changing that, we're changing the dynamic of these communities and the trajectory of these kids' lives.
You get into a community, Cal Ripken's name obviously very important, but it doesn't close the deal. It gets the door open. What's the kind of chronology? Is it the mayor? Is it an appropriate public-private partnership? Do you deal with groups like the Police Athletic League and other community support organizations, or is it all of that?
It's all of that. It varies community to community. What we're looking for in any community, big or small, are people who care first about the kids. It's not about Cal. We don't have an ego. We don't care if anybody ever knows we were involved. We're just trying to help these kids, and we're looking for like-minded people. And sometimes it's the mayor, sometimes it's the local police athletic league, sometimes it's the Boys and Girls Club, sometimes it's a successful, wealthy individual who is at a point in his life where it's time to give back. We hope it's all four of those and more, because that's when the program works the best. But we're looking for people who care and who have the ability to help generate resources so that we can bring them to these kids.
You have and this is a business show, so you have a scalable business, basically. Give me an idea of the numbers, your organization itself, and your goals and aspirations, and how many projects do you want to do in a certain period of time?
Right. So we, 12 years ago, we were basically a $1 million organization. Today we have an annual fundraising goal of $35 million, which we will hit. We have built 65 youth development parks across the country, and doing the math, it's at least $1 million apiece. Some of them were multi-million-dollar projects. We invest about half of the resources to bring those projects to bear, and the local community brings the other half. Our goal by 2020 is to have 150 of these parks. 12 years ago, we were serving or impacting about 25,000 kids, primarily through local baseball clinics. Today, this year, we'll impact over 1.2 million kids. Our goal is to get to 2 million kids per year by 2020. So it's been a fun ride. It's a little bit overwhelming, but Cal's name carries a lot of clout when you go into these communities. But it's his passion and his commitment. I mean, he really passionately cares, and it's contagious.
And you could tell the BS prohibition doesn't stop at Cal. I mean, you are a guy who puts your money where your mouth is as well. Steve Salem, your background, Boys and Girls Clubs, but you've come out of the nonprofit business as well, right?
Absolutely. I actually did a short stint with the New York Yankees out of law school.
Well, they're not a nonprofit business.
They're definitely not a nonprofit. And then went to Boys and Girls Clubs of America for 15 years. Ended as the vice president of government relations there, running the government relations office. And then went over at the request of Cal and Bill to the Ripken Foundation.
It's an interesting experience. Can you give us some sense of the similarities and differences, probably more similarities, between running a mid-level corporation versus the nonprofit that you're running today?
Well, to me, my philosophy is there's no difference. You need a product that people want to invest in. You need to keep your word, do what you say you're going to do. You need to generate interest and excitement. The challenge that we have in the nonprofit world that maybe you don't have in the for-profit world is we don't really have a product to sell. We're selling the heartstrings. But in every other way, we have built and continue to build our business the same way we would build a for-profit company, and it's working.
You're in a city, obviously, you succeed at an alarming successful rate, but what are some of the one biggest challenge you have when you're in a community to be able to pull a deal off?
It's changed over time. Originally, the biggest challenge was, well, Ripken, that's Baltimore. We're in Oklahoma City. What do we care about Baltimore? That's changed as our work reputation has gotten out there, as word has spread. I think the biggest challenge is it's very hard to find a sustainable existing program, because that's what we need to partner with. And in some cases, it's just not there. And it's very hard. But once we go in and we say we're coming, we do not turn back. So that's probably our biggest challenge.
What do you say to the Charles Barkleys of the world? He'd probably recant the statement right now if he had a chance, but that athletes are not role models and they have no obligation to give back.
Well, I disagree with the statement that they're not role models. Whether or not they have an obligation to give back is for someone else to decide. I mean, I don't judge people like that, but they are role models, whether they like it or not, because that's who these kids are watching and who they're imitating and who they want to be like. I do think we all have an obligation, because we're all role models to these kids, to do the right thing, do what we say we're going to do, and that's what we try and teach the kids in our programs.
How do you and Cal feel when you're about to watch the first game played in a new facility that you've just caused to be open?
It is the most overwhelmingly wonderful feeling you can imagine to see these kids come on to, it's their field. We build these $1 million fields and we give it to the community. It's theirs, not ours. They own it. And what we often do is we'll put a ribbon out, and instead of the mayor, and the people with all the money cutting the ribbon, we'll have the kids run through the ribbon. Picture those kids lined up, so excited, cannot wait for the chaperones to say, go. And these kids come running out, and they run through the ribbon on this lush green. The synthetic turf is beautiful green, or whatever color you want, by the way. You can have purple, too. We have a purple one.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's overwhelming.
Cal Ripken's vision, Steve Salem, is in very good hands. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.